larger pack than some of mine.
Well, we walk around and find different birds. If we hear something, we'll see if we can find it with our binoculars and focus on it. Then if we can't figure out, we'll write it down and say unknown.
There's two birds over here. They could try to call
there. You know, like
look at this
there.
whole,
yeah,
look
we
at
need
this
a
whole
pond.
bush.
Also check up here.
It's waiting for you. You walk into it?
Oh, what is it?
Yeah, it looked like that.
Possibly.
That's a house right now.
That's what I thought I heard.
When I first started with this project, I thought we're not going to get any birds or any sightings, and it's probably going to be just a random experiment that's going to be a one-time, thing. But now that I've actually been through it, I see that there's actually a lot of different birds we get to study, and I've learned a lot more. My knowledge has increased.
Seeds, fruits, bees, wasps, and beetles. That sounds delicious.
What's the bird doing?
Searching for food.
Why is the bird sticking around right there?
Wait,
The other thing that's making the other noise, is probably maybe the mate?
Yeah.
I'm not really sure. It really pays to watch these birds, watch their behavior. We're not just looking at what they look like, we're also looking at what they're doing.
I see color. Which one did you see? I saw this one. It looked like a young one. I don't know if it was a male or female.
As about birds as we've gone through the year, because we've been doing this since around October, and when we first started school, and now I know what the difference between some males from females and a lot of things, because before I did not know, I just knew birds existed, but I guess I didn't really put focus into them and how they take part in our community.
So that will come in from being out in the field. They'll get on eBird. They'll start looking at the notes that they wrote. They'll start maybe asking a couple questions about, was that number correct, or, was that a male or a female, and things like that. But anyway, there's this whole discussion about what we did outdoors, which I think is really great. And then they're submitting it. They're very good at it. They're faster than I am. I think they feel excited about putting down data that can actually be of use to a scientist. And I think they also feel like scientists as they are gathering this data and submitting it and looking for ideas for future science projects.
My name is Annie Bracey. I am a graduate student at the University of Minnesota, and I study birds to better understand and help conserve a threatened species. The data that students are collecting help me and other scientists do our work.
287? Okay, so the work that we're doing out here, I'm working with the Minnesota and Wisconsin DNR, who've been managing this common tern colony for over 25 years. This bird is state endangered in Wisconsin and threatened in Minnesota. And so this island here is actually, it's called Interstate Island, and it is literally both states manage this piece of land. Each year we come out and Fred will capture maybe 25% of the adult birds to read their bands to figure out their age. And in doing that, we can get, over time, over the 25 years, a large data set that can give you an idea of survival rates for adults. And then for all of the chicks that are hatched, we put a band on all of them. So far this year, here we've banded over 300 chicks. When people make observations on eBird, depending where they are, if they're in Florida or Minnesota, and they write down the date and time and location that they see these birds, the more people that do that, you get a really nice picture of when these birds are leaving, where they're spending their winters or migrating through, and that's just information that we would never be able to gather otherwise. The longer that information's collected over the years, the deeper kinds of questions that you can ask, and the more you can understand about even changes and movements each year. So maybe over the course of 2 or 3 years, you start seeing birds in different places at different times, and over time that can really tell you a great story that you wouldn't otherwise get just from a lone band return. 285?
285.